My name is Maria Nogal. I'm an assistant professor in the civil engineering faculty. I work in the integral design and management group. So this means that we deal with, in this group, with infrastructure and we see how we have to design and we have to manage this infrastructure from a system point of view. In my case, I'm a bit more specific because I study this design and management for resilient infrastructure. Okay, so there are many ways of addressing this type of problem, but the way that we use in our group is the quantitative approach. That means that we use modeling. We use mathematical and computational modeling. Okay, so this is very important, I think, in the context of this project. So some of the interesting things that we have developed lately is, for example, models to evaluate the resilience of, for example, traffic networks. Imagine a traffic network coming from Amsterdam to The Hague, and this traffic network can suffer from different stresses. Can be, for example, some flooding events. And we model how users behave, how the stress translates into a delay problem, into accidents, and so on. And we identify the best strategy to reduce the impact in our traffic networks, for example. No? So this implies mathematical modeling, dynamic modeling, optimization, and so on. So kind of complicated mathematical things. In this project, in the project that we have been working together with with the DCC team, we have used another idea, that is a mitigation controller. The mitigation controller is a tool that we have identified to identify in advance the best strategy to mitigate the delay of construction projects. So that this kind of construction projects are usually delayed because of several reasons. And what is usually happening is that the manager take measures on the run. So if they are in the middle of the project and they see that there is a potential delay, they decide which mitigation is the best. So this kind of human behavior is not usually introduced by other researchers, and our group, we have decided to introduce it to avoid this modeling error. So we have developed this mathematical model, this tool that is called mitigation controller, to introduce this realistic behavior. No? And as a result, we see that there are important savings if you apply this type of model. Okay, so this is a little bit what we do in our group and what I do. We develop our own software, but it's kind of for us. It's based on MATLAB, on Python, and it's just to get our data and to derive our conclusions. But there is a clear gap between what we produce and what other people can use. And this is actually a pity, because these models are have a lot of potential, are very interesting. And we are really missing the impact of producing software that is more friendly and better oriented to other type of users, like practitioners, students, other researchers, because at least that was my main problem. I was not able to do it. I don't have technical skills to do that. And what is even worse, I didn't know even what was the process. I didn't know what were my responsibilities once that I produced this software. So for that reason, I found this proposal, this project, this DCC support, very interesting. And I thought, hey, I'm going to contact you. I'm going to contact these people. I'm going to apply for this project so they can produce a piece of software for our results, for our model, and we can make a better impact. Initially, my idea was, as I mentioned, no? Just to have this piece of software. And of course, my plan was to learn something about all these IP rights and responsibilities and these kind of things. So that was my initial idea. And actually, it was funny because when I applied for that, one of the fields that I had to fill was how long or how many hours do you think this is going to take? And I remember I put, I don't know, because I didn't have a clear idea of the entire process and what was the final output. No, but eventually the output was a software that can be used initially for the students. So we have produced this piece of software for the students. They are using it in one of the subjects that one of the professors in our group is teaching. The students can learn the model, can learn the concept behind, and we can also see and improve the software, no? And I think this is a great idea. But for me, the most interesting part is not only that we have now this piece of software that can be shared by the person who wants to use it can use it because it's openly exposed to everyone, no? So it's not only for the students. We have used now this link and this software in some of our publications. They can use it if they want, and this is, I think, important. So, but the most important thing, sorry about that, is not only the software, but it's also all the procedure that is behind the software. I mean, all the documentation behind the software that make this piece of software easy to modify, upgrade if needed, to correct if there is any mistake. We have a different type of controls, just if in the future we want to implement other type of improvements of upgrading of the code. And you have all the information about how the software works and the entire process. And I think this is very important because this allows other students or PhD students to continue working on that. And also for us as a group to continue working on this, because now it's properly done. In this project, we were involved with several people, and within them, it was a postdoc student who was writing most of the code, of the MATLAB code. So so this student and myself, we have been working together with a person of the DCC team, developing this software. So the PhD student, that is, his name is Omar, has been really involved in this process, and I'm being involved in a different level, like attending the meetings, discussing the things, agreeing aspects according to the needs that we had and the final output and all these kind of things, and also learning the process. Not so involved in the coding part. Okay, so this part was more was done by the postdoc research. The process was we had several meetings. We agreed on an agenda on some type of goals that we wanted to achieve, and this was very important at the very beginning, because as I mentioned, I had a clear idea of what I wanted, but I really needed to frame it properly. So we did at the very beginning, and then with a continuous interaction with this person from the DCC team, we started to move on and to implement all these aspects, not only the software, as I have mentioned, but all the documentation behind. So we had meetings via Teams, of course, with the COVID. We also used the GitHub as a platform to implement all these type of things. That is actually, I didn't know it, but it's actually very, very helpful. And yeah, it was, it's easy, straightforward. Because the work that Maurits, the work that he did was amazing. It was very easy to work with him, and I think we created a good team. Yeah, I'm more ready for that. I know exactly what we are talking about now. Okay, how long it's going to take, and what are the implications of doing this. And for sure, I'm going to encourage all my PhD students from now on to develop their own software based on the things that we have learned, okay? And hopefully with your support, because of course, I think it's also important to continue have you in our lives, because I knew things, but of course, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have questions in the future. Before I could explain what the FAIR rules mean in terms of papers or in terms of maybe data, but not so much in terms of software. Now I know what FAIR means in terms of software. And I hope in the future everyone can understand this and will implement these FAIR principles in their regular professional life or academic life, if you want. And if we are able to do that, it's because you have done your work properly. Okay, so these kind of projects are important to teach us how to do this.